When you wrote Chow, like, it's a little different than Feed Your Best Friend Better. So was there a specific motivation, or like, were you thinking of someone like me, or what inspired this?
Better was like, it was like my dog food manifesto. I wrote it like, it took me like 4 years to write it and come up.
It's amazing. It's obviously, but.
And I wanted to say A to Z. Like, if you're doing fresh food, if you're making a meal for a sick dog, or if you're just trying to pick out a better dry food, like everything I could possibly say, anything that anybody had ever asked me while I've operated my dog food company, I tried to put in Feed Your Best Friend Better. And Chow is like, how much do you want to do? How much are you doing today? How much do you want to do? You don't have to cook for your dog. You don't have to make a meal. If you want to save a few dollars and make a really quick and easy cookie, hey, I got a ton of recipes in there. If you want to do a treat every now and then, hey, it's your dog's birthday, you want to make him a special little meal, hey, Chow's got great little meal size, one portion size. Then if you want to, but if you're just like, look, I'm really busy, I've got a lot going on, I'm making dinner for myself, is there just a couple things that I can easily throw into the bowl? That's why I wrote Chow. I want to make it really easy for people to, whatever level of interest or effort that they're able to make, that they have kind of a wide variety. So it's like whatever you have in your refrigerator, whatever. I've got like 100 different foods in here that have different approaches. Like, here's how you add it to the bowl. Almost every food is just like, here's how much you just add it to the bowl. Here's how you can add it to a meal. Here's how you can turn it into a cookie. So try to think about really different things. And all my recipes, I always try to think like, well, what would people want to do with this? And also why. So what really got me started was my dog Jackson was diagnosed with lymphoma, and I was devastated. I actually found out this news in a grocery store. And because I was trying not to lose cell phone service, I was standing across from the butcher, and I'm like, just like 3 days before Christmas, and I'm just like, this is horrible. And I'm like, okay, my buddy's going out, and they're like, he has 6 to 9 months with treatment. I'm like, if he's going out, he's going out in style. So I'm like, Jackson, how about 2 steaks? I've never fed my dog steak before.
Like a whole steak from the grocery store.
I wouldn't even give him like a hot dog or anything like that. And I'm like, tonight it's steak. Because I'm like, my heart was torn out. But then we kind of went back to, that was the one-time thing, like, and then I went back to just scooping the food again until Jackson stopped eating and he stopped moving. I had to carry him outside to go to the bathroom. He just didn't, it was so sad. He just didn't move. He just stayed in his bed the entire time. So I'm like, all right, I got to get him to eat something. And so I just started throwing stuff together. And I had no idea what it's doing. I wasn't following any books. I hadn't read anything.
You just needed him to eat.
And nobody was offering me any advice. There wasn't, my veterinarian and my oncologist said, just feed him regular food, just, stick to a good commercial food. He didn't want that. So, I was taking like turkey and sweet potatoes and spinach and just like cooking it down, and throwing a little bit in there to kind of like top off the food, and he would pretty much eat that, but then he would kind of pick around some stuff and he'd leave the dry food. I'm like, oh, you like that? Have a little bit more. You like the real stuff? Yeah, have a little bit more.
So, I know it all started with Jackson, and now you have a family, not just with more dogs, but with a partner, and like, it's grown. But back then, when you didn't know any of the things you necessarily know today about food and nutrition when it comes to dogs specifically, maybe even humans, I don't know. But back then, what was a regular day's feeding behavior like for you?
I scooped out of a bag. So, I really stuck to the rule that dogs only eat dog food. And I would scoop out of the bag, throw it in the bowl, and Jackson would kind of like go crazy with it. And Jackson actually was very aggressive with me initially around food. And like he tore up my pant legs once. And I was like freaking out. I'm like, my dog's trying to kill me.
And he's not insignificant.
I actually hand fed him for a long time.
Wow.
And just like piece by piece, and like, buddy, this is how we're gonna learn that I am totally trustworthy around your food. Because I didn't know what else to do, and I'm like, I was just guessing and stuff. But I'm like, well, maybe if I just give him a piece at a time, because I knew if I gave him, you know, a piece of bread or whatever, he didn't tear my hand off. And so I really just kind of worked at it really slowly, just say, but we need to establish trust. But Jackson really wanted real food. He wanted real food so much that he learned how to open up the refrigerator. He ate a whole pound of bacon. He ate a chicken. He left the cheese. Ate a loaf of bread. And like he would break into the garbage. And like I was going insane. So I had to put locks on everything. I used to call the refrigerator the vault. But he was a burglar and he could get into the vault.
I think that people watching this can understand, like, dogs, they're not alike to humans in some ways, but I think in other ways, especially after, like, 15,000 years, like, we are attracted to food like that, too. Like, food is such a source of pleasure. It's such a source of, like, love, family, you know, sharing. And it's this experience that now we share with our dogs, just like we share it with our families and our children and ourselves. And so I don't, you know, as much as it's annoying, I think some people might look at a dog behavior like that. Like, you come from a place of, like, a little empathy, and it's like, wow, this dog loves food. Like, anyone else out there love food, like, enjoy certain things and, like, can't get enough of them and be willing to, like, rip open a refrigerator to, like, sneak whatever's in there. Back before you fed Jackson any real food, back when you were, like, bag and dump, like, I want to talk a little bit about that, because some people who, actually a lot of people who I speak to, like, my friends, my family, people who observe and watch the stuff that we post here, they just don't know. Like, they're in a habit, they're in a practice of doing something that they've never really stopped to question. And it isn't because they're jerks or like they don't love their dogs. They love their dogs so much.
That's what we've been told. Like, feed your dog food. I mean, that was the rule. Like, feed your dog food, never change their diet. Just keep it all as stable as possible. And I followed that rule until my dog got sick. He was really enthusiastic about food, and he would finish that, and he had a little bit more energy. We also, in conjunction with the chemotherapy regimen, he got better, and he got really better. And so he started playing with the puppy. He started going for walks with us again. He started running with me again. And I'm like, wow, this is... If you really like that, I'm just going to keep feeding. But then as I kept doing that, he got fat. And that's when I realized I had no idea what I'm doing. So I started studying it. And I studied what dogs actually need and what is in food. And I found a way to put those things together. And then I started developing recipes. I worked with veterinarians. I cheated by using the nutritional profiles off of commercial foods and used real foods to meet those nutritional requirements, adjusted it. I was hand grinding vitamins and adding them to foods.
Hardcore.
Very custom. But dogs did great, and dogs love the food. When your pet's sick, like, you will do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, and I come from I have a yet to be 3-year-old dog with no health problems. You know, she had an ear infection once, but like we've got that under control. And you know, she's healthy, but I'm passionate about, you know, speaking to people and like, hey, turn around. There's a cliff, you know, when it comes to feeding your dog. There's a cliff coming, and it's just yay far away, and you're gonna get there and realize it's a cliff. But turn around now before you have to crawl back up. We don't need to wait till those issues are arising. Like, this is accessible now, and it doesn't have to be a crazy life change, right? Like, I don't have to like jump in the deep end and like all the way past my head. Can I do like just something small?
My goal is not to have you cooking every single night. Whether it's something like adding eggs every single day, or a meal, or just like
I love that.
or just like saying, hey, I've got green beans today, or cabbage. Can you really give dogs cabbage without having a whole bunch of? And you can't.
Yeah.
Fermented, man. Fermented vegetables, perfect for dogs.
See, but you know all these tricks, and I'm like, that's why I'm grateful, because like this is what this site is about. Look, like for people out there, we love our dogs. You know, you've had so many. I'm at the moment, I'm only a proud owner of one. Maybe out there you've got 5, 1, it doesn't matter. Like, we love them, and it's not for lack of love, sometimes for lack of attention, most often for lack of awareness. And you know, you make it easy, and you take science, you know, that's kind of mind-boggling, and you take data that takes forever to put together. And if you have multiple dogs, you know, you make it as easy as an extra 10, 15 minutes, honestly, the extra time in the kitchen. Chow and what you've done, it takes away the need to go and do all that research, all that data gathering, and it also takes away excuses, and that's what I like.
You shouldn't have to go through and have to research all these journals and stuff yourself. And learning how to feed a dog is kind of like the same idea of learning to feed your diabetic husband or a child. You just have to like learn what some of the basic rules are, and then make some adjustments.
I think there's a myth, and you hit it like nail on head in this book. There's a myth that like you should feed your dog one thing, and that any, you know, variation or like any diversity is bad for them. And you know, I bet a lot of people who are watching this might even like kind of feel that way. Their vets might have told them that, or they might have seen it on a commercial for the pet food that they feed their dog. And I kind of had my mind blown too about the diversity that's possible, not just based on, like you said, what your dog likes, but what it does for them, like the magicalness inside their body that can heal, that can, you know, give them like vivacious energy. And so all of that, if a person thinks though that it's bad, maybe they're going to be afraid to toss some of their like chicken in the bowl.
I know that people are afraid. I know that people think, I'm only supposed to feed this one thing. I did the same thing. Only through having a dog food company, and actually when I had my dog food company, Dog Stew, I had every customer, I'm like, look, I'm in charge of your dog's food now, and your dog is going to have 3 different meals. I have a chicken, beef, and turkey meal, and your dog is going to rotate through them. And every single customer was like, you can't do that. You don't know what that will do to my carpet. And I'm like, trust me, we'll start out slow, and we'll build up to it. That's what we've been told. That's what we've learned all along. And you know what? Everybody has been doing a great job. They've followed everything that they need to know, or they've known so far. And people have really, like, people are trying to buy better types of commercial dog foods. So you just start out with small amounts to see how your dog does, and really transition dogs slowly. But a dog who, I mean, I fed my dog only commercial food because that's what I was
like. 2 cups a day, you know, or like morning and evening, like dry kibble. The orange and like red and green little like triangles and squares and meat. I mean, meat. That was what my breeder fed her when I bought her, so I kept doing it.
Here's the problem with that. That one food has the same nutrients in it, every single same nutrient, and the body, they say, hey, it has antioxidants. Okay, it has vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin K probably, and selenium. Well, those are vitamin and minerals that are required that have antioxidant activity as well. Your dog's body needs more than that. Antioxidants are drawn to different parts of the body. So all these different antioxidants, and there's like hundreds of them, that are found in different foods, they're drawn to different parts of the body to have specific actions. And so if you're only putting out those 6 or so antioxidants and having them do all the work, things are getting missed.
Yeah.
That's why dogs need some diversity.
Is that why they develop potential like chronic illnesses, or maybe why that can lead to things like that? Because there's stuff like missing from their internal functioning?
That's kind of my belief. I I believe that dog food, like when you look at cancer and stuff like that, I don't think that dog foods cause cancer. I don't think that they're doing enough to prevent cancer.
I loved that line in the book. I wrote it down.
Because it's just the body needs so many a wide variety of things to totally function, and just because it's vitamins, minerals, proteins that they say these are the things the minimum to keep life going. That's not
the minimum.
That's the minimum.
Yeah.
But about like keep it clicking, and every dog will eventually far earlier than we were ready will experience health issues.
Yeah.
But my goal is to extend the good healthy years of that dog's life, so you don't, if I can give you 6 more months, a year, 2 years of not having to give your dog insulin shots, great. If I can keep your dog cancer free, if I can help prevent heart disease, just by giving your dog healthy food, and especially if dogs are used to eating only one thing all their lives, they really do need to have a little bit of transition, and that's why I always say start with teaspoons and tablespoons.
I love that. Say it again. I can't repeat that enough. I read it in the book. It's a little headline. You guys won't miss it. Say it again.
Whatever you start with, always start with teaspoons and tablespoons, not cups and handfuls, because you have to see how your dog adjusts to different foods. Maybe they don't like them, maybe they don't like them, maybe they're sensitive to something, maybe they're not. You don't know. You can feed your dog off your cutting board, not off of your table. I would rather people start giving their dog fresh food now, because I don't have x-ray vision. I can't see what's going inside my dog. And so if I'm going to place a bet, I'm going to place a bet on giving them real food to help support anything else that they're getting, to make sure that they're getting a wide variety of antioxidants and nutrients, not just those very few that can do a few things.
And you know what goes into that then? Like, there must be some, and for me, I don't know if you share that, a sense of peace in knowing that, like, you're not handing a little triangle full of, who knows, like, what, who's regulating the AAFCO?
And there's a reason why if somebody said, hey, want to eat a piece of dog food, people would be like, no. But then I'm like, hey, do you want to have a butternut squash frittata? People are like, sure.
Yeah.
It's just real food, and it doesn't. And my goal is not. It's not gourmet. It's not fancy.
It's so easy. It's so easy.
It's just food, and like my preparations tend to be a little simple.
But they're dogs.
Garnish.
Yeah, they're dogs. They're just gonna get excited and stick their face in it anyways, and spit the garnish out and dig in.
I always recommend to do some supplementation if you're totally taking it over. If you're doing half and half, you're gonna be okay not to supplement, because those commercial foods are already about 200 to 600% of what a dog needs on most nutrients, and so you don't really have to supplement if it's half and half. I would always encourage people to still add a little bit of calcium supplement. Eggshell powder is, like, to me, the easiest thing.
I love that recipe. That's such a cute. It's so
don't
easy.
cook it too long because it'll smell like burnt hair.
I haven't had that experience. I've done it right so far.
I walked away and think, oh, I'll be back in a minute, and then what is that smell?
Eggshells.
5 minutes, 300.
What are 5 foods that are common other than chocolate? Because that's the big one. People are always, aware that chocolate's not good for dogs. But like grapes, are there other things, 5, maybe 4, however many, that you could just caution our viewers and be like, you guys, I know you're not doing this because you don't like your dogs or you want to hurt them. You just don't know. So let me share this little magical tidbit.
The really top foods are super fatty foods.
Okay.
Super fatty foods can actually bring on pancreatitis like you would not believe, or an attack. That can cause a big problem. Onions are very toxic. Garlic in appropriate amounts amounts is okay.
Yeah, that's what you shared. You shared that, and I had no idea because I had been reading some things on the internet that was like, stay away from this, stay away from this, and
there's the whole garlic thing has exploded because now it's just become like this wild kind of belief. But if you really look at what happened in the garlic study with dogs, it was a very small study. They really overdosed the dogs with garlic, like huge amounts of garlic for a dog.
They probably smelled. They were probably sweating garlic.
40-pound dog. That's really, if you overdose a dog with carrots or fat or anything like that, they would have some kind of health issue. So, yeah, garlic, small amounts of garlic in appropriate amounts is okay. Things like xylitol, most people don't really know that, but like, I'm really cautious. Like, I don't think anybody's gonna give their dog chewing gum, but now peanut butter actually has xylitol in it.
Cookies, some of the like packaged cookies and.
Yeah. Like, you have to be really careful. That toothpaste container that you're throwing away in your garbage, be careful because that also has xylitol in it. And if your dog got that and started chewing on it, that could be very potentially dangerous.
You'll see all these things online that you're not supposed to feed your dog. But one of the things that maybe you can relate to, especially since you came at this years ago before you wrote a best-selling book and then followed it up with another one, but what about the things you can feed your dog? Like, can we talk about that?
That's my passion. That's where I'm at. Everybody will tell you what not to do, and don't feed your dog this. Never change your dog's diet. My whole job is to say, here's what you can do. Here's what the possibilities are. Things like turmeric.
That's good because salt and pepper, you shared, it's like a no-go. Like there's no need for that seasoning, but there are some seasonings that are awesome or cool for dogs.
There are some, like rosemary. It could be good for dogs, but not dogs that are prone to seizures. There's turmeric. Cumin is really good for dogs, especially with dogs with diabetes. Most dog food books say, and here's a recipe, and that feeds a 30-pound dog. Not everybody has a 30-pound dog. And so what's really important for me is like every single food I recommend, every single recipe, I say, here's how much you give a 10, 20, 40, 60, 80-pound dog. And my secret to chow is if you take the meal recipes and you just multiply them by 3, it makes a nice crock pot thing. You can adjust almost any one of these recipes to a crock pot and put 4 to 6 hours on low. I always try to cook everything on low so that nutrients stay more intact, and it really helps all the juices kind of absorb into everything. As many different ways as there are, as many different breeds of dogs there are different ways to feed your dog. I would ask people to at least look to see how well their dog food, what that dog food is, and like how well it's put together. The best source that there is right now for that is dogfoodadvisor.com.
Yes, you guys.
I really like them. They have here's my problem though. They do a really good review of the ingredients. Nobody's providing a review of the nutrition. I'm telling you, take the food that you're feeding now, whatever it is, and look it up at dogfoodadvisor.com.
And that's a good start for people, don't you think?
It's a great first spot.
If they do that and cook some recipes,
it's like 1 or 2 stars, get rid of it.
Yeah.
If it's 3 stars, maybe there's something better out there. If it's 4 or 5 stars, you're probably doing pretty good.
And they're gonna start feeding them real food too, even if it's just so.
If you're adding in real food too, that's gonna provide not only fresh sources of a lot of those vitamins and minerals, and they're not just adding anything that's they're adding in additional vitamins and minerals too. They're not coming empty-handed. Plus, they're coming in with a lot of antioxidants. Fresh sources of protein, a lot more proteins than just those few proteins that are specified as part of the nutrient profile. A lot more natural enzymes in meat. Providing fresh food is like, just like helps boost whatever else you're feeding. If you want to cook for your dog, I'll help you do that. If you just want to provide cookies, whatever, I'll help you do that. If you just want to be able to add fresh food to the bowl, like slice up some apples, throw in some blueberries, have some green beans, hey, I'll help you do that too. It's up to each person to decide how much that they can do, what's good for them, what's good for their dog, and what's good for your neighbor and what's good for your neighbor's dog may not be the same for you. But I just want to make sure that people have the information so that they can make those choices.